soon as we finish this quick review, we're going to take a Chapter 5 pretest. So the more attention you pay to what we're doing right now, the better you're going to do on the pretest, which is going to make for less homework that you have to do in Chapter 5. So it would be to your benefit to really pay attention to this, right? Okay, so now look at this. 10 equals 4 plus v. Who has an idea on this one?
V is 6.
V is 6, but how should we go about showing our work on this?
I know, you do 4 minus 3. 6 equals 10.
How about we do minus 4 on each side? Okay, because when you do your pretest, you're going to have to do something besides just throw the answer there. Okay, so remember, our job is to isolate the variable. So we're going to take the 4 away from both sides. So now we have 6 equals v, and you have shown the work for your problem. Kira, you look distracted, dear. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, now this one's a little bit more complicated. What should we do first before we start to juggle things around? Uh-oh, that is not what we're supposed to have right there.
Oh, no.
That is really weird. Okay, it looks like we're still doing everything, though. Okay, so what should we do first?
Add 83.
Why would we add 83?
Yeah, because...
Aren't we trying to get the variable alone? But look at this.
Find like terms.
Yes, we've got variables all over the place. We can't isolate a variable that is not in one spot. So our first job is always to get our variable in one place.
That's like negative 13u.
So, okay, so let's rewrite. So negative 83 equals. Now what?
Negative 13.
All right, because we've got, who can state the rule here? When we're adding opposite signs,
Take the sign of the greater.
we actually subtract the absolute values and take the sign of the big guy, right? All right, so negative 13u minus 11. He's going to win the tug of war. The negative is going to win the tug of war. Now we isolate the value. Add the what?
Add 18.
Add 18. And we add 18 instead of the 83 because?
18 is... Because 18
No, this is something
there.
I would have to check.
Because 18 is bothering my variable.
Yeah, it's bothering it.
Okay, we want to get the variable all by itself. Okay, so think about everybody loves their siblings, I'm sure. But there are times when you would like your sibling to just get out of the room. Okay, so think of the variable as you, and you'd like the sibling to get out of your room just for a little while. You love your sibling, but sometimes they just need to get out of your room, right? So here we're going to get rid of the 18. And what is it? Okay, opposite signs again. We got a negative 83 and a positive 18. So how do we do that, Logan? Negative 83, positive 18.
Oh, that's a 0.
Negative 83, positive 18.
That is 18. That is like...
Are we going to add them or subtract them?
I know.
75, minus 75.
Okay, so we're going to, he says minus 75. We got to subtract them, and 13 take away 8, and then that's 65, isn't it? 65.
I said it was a 6.
65 equals negative 13u. Now what?
There's more. That's the answer.
Okay, well, are you by yourself in your room yet? No, you are not by yourself in your room. What do you want to get rid of now? 13. You want to get rid of the negative 13. So when they're joined by multiplication, how do you get rid of them? Divide. Okay, so we're going to divide out. So I got to come up here and write this again. So negative 65. Now take it away. Aren't you going to divide it? Because the 13, look, the negative 13u, isn't that joined by multiplication?
No, wait, yeah.
That's negative 13 times u.
13
So we have to undo that with division. So we're going to negative 13 on this side and negative 13 on this side. Okay? So how many times does 13 go into 65? 5 times. 5 times, right? And shh, what is a negative divided by a negative?
Positive.
Positive. So we don't need a sign there. And then over here, this is going to cancel.
Divisible by 3, you gotta add things together and then the things together.
5 equals u.
Yes.
This is divisible by 3.
If the sum of the digits is a multiple of 9, of 3.
33 divided by 3, you know it's divisible by 3 because you add the 2 things together and it's a 6.
That's right. Okay, everybody look at number 4.
That's a lot.
Okay, so number 4, what are we going to do with this one? Write inequalities to express the situations below.
Oh, no, this one we have to do the little symbols.
Yeah, you're about to do this on a pretest. So let's read it. To ride a roller coaster, a visitor must be at least 58 inches tall. Use H to represent the height in inches of a visitor able to ride.
Oh, so it's like 56 is less than 170.
What?
Right?
Now, they're two separate problems, sweetheart.
Oh, so it's like...
We're going to do an A and a B here. So it says write inequalities, two
okay,
inequalities.
So it's like 58 is more than a number. or
Okay, so
less than a
basically the height is H, right? They tell us to use H to represent the height.
number. Yeah, so it's 58 is more than...
Height
8.
must be what?
H must be greater than or equal to 58.
Very good.
That is the second time I
H
said that.
Oh my gosh, that's the
is
same time.
greater than or equal to 58. Now, if height has to be at least, we use greater than or equal to measure that, okay? So we'll say 58 inches so we know what the units are, okay? Now, the cruising speed of the bullet train will be no less than 170 miles per hour. Use S to represent the train's cruising speed in miles per hour. So what will we do?
S is greater than or equal to 170.
Okay, so since it says no less than, that means that greater than or equal to would work, right? So greater than or equal to 170 miles per hour. Okay? Now,
Is that supposed to be an S or a 5?
That's supposed to be an S.
yes, they told us to use S. Question 5, the first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence. Now that can be arithmetic or arithmetic.
I think it's a
Either one is correct.
Really?
Yes. Okay. So the first 3 terms of an arithmetic sequence are as follows: 44, 35, 26. Find the next 2 terms in this sequence.
17 and 8.
Okay. So he's saying 17 and 8. How did you do it, Braden?
Well, I'm seeing it's going down by, well, basically I just want, the tens place is going down by 1. The ones place is going down up by 1. So it's subtracting by 9 each time.
Okay.
But
Subtracting
I
9.
didn't do any like actual math. I just,
You just subtracted 9.
I went down one of the tens place up.
Okay.
on
All right.
up one on the one
Does
below.
anybody have any problem with that, or would you be able to do the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, next one. Factor. Factor is when we're pulling out a greatest common factor in this case. What could we pull out of both the 8y and 6? 2. So if we pulled the 2 out front as a factor, what would be left?
4y plus 3.
4y plus 3 is correct. Could everybody do that on the pretest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm still writing it down.
All right.
Wait.
It's still there. Can you see it? It's on the left.
So can you go back and I'm still writing it down?
It's on the left here. It's right there.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that.
It's not that hard.
Did you expand it?
Okay, so now look at this one.
Okay.
You don't know how we did that? Okay, so basically, if we were to distribute this, wouldn't it be 8y plus 6 and go back to here? So when we're pulling the 2 out, we're doing the opposite of
You're
distribution.
dividing.
We're
them both by
factoring it.
2.
Right. Okay, so question 7, solve for u. What shall we do?
Divide both sides by 4.
Divide both sides by 4. Thank you, Braden. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. This goes just to u on this side. And now we've got to actually do this out. So when you're doing this on the pretest, I want to see your math. Okay, I want to see you divide. So we're going to put 4 into 5 one time. And the decimal's not going to move. It's going to stay there. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract the 1. Bring down the 1. 4 into 11 is 2. 8. And 3. 2. And I'm out of space, but I get an 8 there, right? So 1.28. So we're going to say u equals 1.28. So when you're doing your pretest, I want to see your work. Don't just tell me you're doing it in your head, okay? Because you won't get it right, and you'll end up doing 5 problems of homework because you couldn't follow instructions.
What if you do get it right?
I'm just saying, I want to see your work. It's a test.
If you don't show work and you get it right, you'll still have to do it back on the bus.
Because your instruction is to show all your work.
Like good enough. What do I good enough at
Nope,
to do it?
not on a test.
So what if you know how to do it in your head? You don't know how to write it down?
What if it's something?
Then you need to do the homework.
But if you understand it.
Okay, everybody, question number 8. For a ride on a rental scooter. Hey, Braden, can we do the problem, please? Question number 8. For a ride on the rental scooter, Dante paid $3 fee to start the scooter,
Okay.
plus 11 cents per minute of the ride. The total bill for Dante's ride was $21.48. For how many minutes did Dante ride the scooter? Okay, so he's paying $3 fee just to start. Okay? Braden, I hope you're working this out on a piece of paper.
Don't you know how to move the decimal? Like,
Okay, so what are we going to do to set this up? We're going to say cost
don't you have to move the decimal?
equals, okay, on this paper, a lot of times they say write the equation. How would we write the equation to figure this out?
Oh, 18.48 divided by 11 sevenths, and then that's the answer.
Okay, so how did you get that?
Because I subtracted 21.48 by 3.
And you did that because,
Because the answer is 18.48 divided by 11.
okay, so that's not the because, that's,
Oh, the because is because that's like fees, like the 11 cents per minute, and then
Okay.
$3 is starting fee.
okay, so the $3 starting fee is he's going to pay that no matter what.
Okay.
And then he's going to do 11 cents per minute. So every minute he rides is going to be 11 cents.
11 times something, like 111.
Okay, so wouldn't this be the cost equation right there? Now we have not put in the $21.48, but that would be your cost equation. Okay, so now to solve it, we're going to take the C and we're going to change it out for 21.48. Okay, it's hard to write on this thing. Okay, now, Everly, can you see why you did what you did? Okay, so basically algebra is equations. Algebra is being able to express something,
Is it all math equations?
a process,
Yeah.
but specifically algebra is where we're starting to study equations and what they do. Okay, so now you can see that to solve it, you would subtract the 3 and subtract the 3. Okay, and we're going to get 18.48. And then that's going to be equal to 11m. Okay, so who can?
You're going to divide it by 11. But
We're going to divide both sides by
my
11.
biggest question is, do you move the decimal point? Because I've been kind of stuck on that.
Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at this. Everybody look, we're going to do this long division. So when we don't have a divisor, Everly, that has a decimal, then our decimal would be right above this one. If we have a divisor that has a decimal, then we have to move that decimal and we have to move both decimals.
I thought I was dividing it by 11 cents.
Okay, so basically we're finding out. Okay, that's a good point.
Because it said
11 cents and the bill, you are right. So we're going to put a decimal in the 11 cents. That's a very good point. Okay, so now because we put a decimal in the 11 cents, we put them both in money, which, very good, is an important process. So we're going to do what? Move it over 1, 2. Move it over 1, 2. And now our decimal will be over here. Okay, how many times does 11 go into 18?
Oh, like what?
1. We end up with 11. Then what do we have?
Oh, a 7.
7. And then what do we have? 4. 11 into 74 would go
Oh, that's like about
6 times. And then we get a 66. And then we subtract. And what do we get now?
Oh.
14, take away 6 is 8.
Yeah.
And an 8 comes down. And we get an 8 right there.
8. Yeah.
So he rode for 168 minutes.
That's like 4 hours.
That's a long time. Okay.
I didn't know if you did that.
All right. Very good. Any questions? All right. Graph the inequality. You will have this on your pretest.
Wait, so what was the answer? It was
Right there.
about 168.
168.
Okay. Maybe we should go over that one more time.
I don't think so. Okay. So A is less than or equal to -7. So here
It's
is
like you take the 7
negative
and then
7.
you move the little line that way.
Okay, but we're going to make sure, should we have a darkened bubble, right? It should be a solid bubble
And then it's a line.
because it's got an equal, and then we're going to go to the left. Very
Yeah.
good. And we're going to put a little arrow on that. Now, if it was just less than but not equal, then the little circle would be open,
Yeah.
right? A little open bubble.
I hate open circles.
Okay, so now what are we going to do? Oh, fun. We get some fractions to deal with. What are we going to do here?
Oh, you add
Logan,
those together.
you don't look like you're engaged. What are we going to do here, Logan?
You make them common denominators.
Common denominators. What would be the common denominator?
14. Oh, wait.
Very good, 14. So we're going to make this 14 and 14. And both of these are U's, and that's the only way we can add them together, right? Because they're both common terms, like terms. So now what are we going to do? Multiply this one by what?
2.
2 over 2. And we're going to get 6 over 14. We're going to multiply this one by what?
7.
7 over 7. And we're going to get 7 over 14. And we're going to add those together. What's our answer?
Oh, our answer is 13.
13 over 14.
And which you can keep it because the denominator is bigger than the
Yeah, that's right. Excellent. Okay, now, okay, we'll do that at the end. Let me go ahead and get through this, okay?
U is 0.
U is what?
Negative 0.
Okay, is there a -0?
No.
There's no such thing as a -0 because 0 is unsigned. Okay, but remember the absolute value is, if we were going to solve for that, it's going to be U. Now, what if we did this? Let's take this a little bit further.
Oh, it's just a 0.
U is 0. U is 0. Because plus and minus 0 doesn't make any sense. But this is important because you may not have this one on here. What if I said the absolute value of U is 5?
Oh, that's like a negative 5 or a positive 5.
Two answers.
You put the little
Plus
comma there between.
5
That's
and
like those
minus 5 would be the solutions, right? Okay, you're going to miss this because you're too busy giggling and being silly.
I'm engaged.
Okay, Everly, but you're not being an asset right now. Okay, you're playing too much and you need to settle down. Okay?
Oh, I did this one. You got a multiply.
Okay, so what are we going to do? XY is a distance.
I'm trying to write this one down.
Okay, so this one is a distance and this one is a distance.
Negative 100, no, positive 100.
Okay, so XY means we're going between these two. How far apart are those two?
Wait, it's not multiplying?
Nope.
No, Everly.
It's not multiplying. It's how far apart are they? It's the distance between them. Okay? So what is the length of XY?
That's like
So we would say
5.4.
okay, so we're going to say 5.4, really? 15.1
Oh, wait, no,
minus
5.1. I thought that
a
was
negative 10.
Yeah,
Braden, what's that going to be?
5.1.
Minus a negative 10. What are we going to do with this
Braden,
minus a
go
negative?
Minus
Come on,
negative 10, that's, isn't that minus 5.1?
What, wouldn't we say plus here?
Yeah.
In other words, tell me the work. Don't just tell me the answer.
It's negative 15 plus 10, which is negative 5.1.
Negative 5.1 is correct.
That's what we just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shh.
I only said 5.1.
You guys, I cannot hear 8 people talking at one time. So basically, that's okay. It's all right. But it is nice to be able to ask certain people instead of everybody just blurt out. Okay? So let's look at the next one. What is XZ? All right? Now, XZ. Somebody tell me how to set it up.
15.1 plus 13.6.
Okay, so wouldn't we subtract if we're finding distances? So what if we did negative 15.1?
But can you do subtraction or addition since it's just distance?
Okay, so basically it's going to be 15.1 to the left and 13.6 added together. You're right. But I want you to show your work. So when you're showing your work, when you're doing a distance, you're using subtraction of a 13.6.
Why do we have to do subtraction?
Because distance is subtraction. You're subtracting the two different distances. Okay? So now you're going to get a what? Because they're both negative, you're going to go in what? Kiara, what are we going to do since they're both negative? Okay, so we're going to add and take the common sign. So we're going to get a
I
what?
thought 13.6 was on the other side of the zero.
Yeah.
But it's minus a positive. It's a minus a positive. You're subtracting the two. So now you're going to end up with a negative 28.7. But since it's a distance, we take the absolute value of that. Okay, so this would be how you could show your work. Now, if you were showing your work the other direction, you could have said 13.6 minus a negative 15.1.
Subtract, but you will take the common sign.
Okay, but see, the minus and negative would be addition of the opposite, wouldn't it? So then you would wind up with the 28.7. Okay? All right?
But I was supposed to figure it out, and you just gave it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, look at this one. All right, if you want to do this one, you can do this one, Kira. Write an inequality.
Please.
No, Everly, we're not hearing your voice.
It's like 0 is less than or equal to x.
Everly.
0 is less than or equal to x. Okay, but wouldn't we want to have the x in front?
Oh yeah, x is less than or equal. Greater than or equal.
Okay, all right, there you go. X is greater than or equal to
I'm on
0.
this side, so I'm reading it from like here to there. So
Right,
I'm just like,
it's very difficult, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, oops, I had 13 in there twice. Didn't need to do that. Okay, so now,
There's 13 questions.
everybody, is there a slide you need to see?
Yes, 8.
Okay, so